we look at your career trajectory, right? There is something that happened in 2013. The great movies, one after the other, and which is not to say that the movies you did or series
No, I
you
hear
did
you.
thereafter was not great. I mean,
I hear
that's
you.
a personal, it's a subjective call. In any case, what you think is great, it may not be great for someone else.
No, I get it. You don't
let's say-
justify it.
yeah.
Go on. You don't justify
So what
it.
happened? Like, did you lose your mojo?
Look, it's everything collective. Like I said, I don't like talking about it because I don't want to come across like I'm bitter or like a victim. I don't care. But when you take a stand, then you take a stand. And that has consequences. And then, are you ready to face those consequences?
Like, give me an example of a stand and how that could have had some consequences.
I don't know, calling out people for endorsing fairness creams.
So that's like A, B, C not going to work with you. Because what the hell?
I don't think that's,
It's not as simple as that,
It's
right?
not as simple as
Yeah,
that. No,
yeah.
like I did a guest appearance in Shah Rukh's Hero. Shah Rukh was one of the people, and he's a really dignified man, and he wouldn't. It's collective. It's then showing up with a black eye on a red carpet and calling out Bhushan Kumar by name and saying T-Series, blah, blah, blah. It is constantly saying, why do we have to have song and dance? Why can't we have this, that, and the other?
Right.
It is then also having people like an Anurag spread crap about you behind your back. So it's not the one reason.
Right.
This all happened collectively, and I take responsibility for all of it because we all create our lives. Even when there are external forces working against you, it's also your provocation of them sometimes. So I've learned to take that responsibility. And so yeah, post 2013, it was tough, and I also took a back seat. So I was like, okay, now I'm not going to go back and pretend like nothing ever happened. And I'm not going to go back and now be a different person. So I'm going to sit back and just see what comes my way and quietly work. Now, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then so be it.
Also, the world changed, right? Around
The
the,
world
same
changed.
time, right? I mean, there was the multiplex cinema
Yeah.
that thereafter became what is
Yeah.
OTT now.
Yeah.
There was something that happened in multiplexes too. Up until 2019, there was the Ayushmann Khurranas of the world, the Rajkumar Raos of the world delivering 100 crore plus movies, which has stopped happening now suddenly after the pandemic. What do you make of this change, Abhay? Like, in terms of looking at media and storytelling, from multiplex to OTT, from films to series. You're doing all of them, of course. You're like the OTT star before there was OTT, right?
Yeah, a couple of people said exactly that to me. The technology was always here to create a lot of change, a lot of disruption. And that's what I was not necessarily directly talking about. I was just looking for change in our creative spaces because I felt like as filmmakers, we can reflect culture, but we can also create culture. So why are we dumbing down our audiences? Let's treat them with a lot more dignity and intelligence. Because if we don't, someone else will. And then technology comes in and does exactly that.
Right.
It is rapid. It's not something that everybody can necessarily adapt to very easily. Some find it more difficult than others. It's challenging. Never in human history has so much change come so fast. As a creator, it's exciting because there's so much fodder, but I still have to hold myself back because you may be at this level of thought, but it might be offensive or far too way out there for people to digest. So you still have to kind of temper yourself. But technology helps. Like a Netflix, this show will go to the world.
Right.
So you're not just being watched in India, you're being watched in Nigeria as well, as much as you're being watched in.
And you could do this in the environment of box office alone, right? You couldn't do a trial by fire. You think people watch
with
it?
the OTT, it's a game of subscribers.
Yes.
But that just means that they obviously will make the mainstream stuff that has a large audience.
Yeah.
But because they're a digital space, they can also make the non-mainstream stuff. They can do both. Whereas cinema can only make the mainstream. Once in a while, they come up with something indie, but even that becomes difficult because there's a whole lot of interference because they're so insecure making something different that they.
And that's what you were fighting, were you?
There was that too. It's like, let's go the distance. Like, no, but let's put this and then that element, which is completely mainstream. I'm like, either then you make a mainstream film, know. Don't, otherwise you're left in between. It's neither here nor there. So there was a lot of that happening as well. Whereas when the OTT, know what you're signing up for. Are you signing up to make a mainstream Bollywood movie, or are you signing up to make something independent that completely shatters the myth of what a Bollywood film is.
Right. The reason why, Abhay, I'm going on and on about this particular phase in your career, in your life, is it means a lot to people who are watching it who are very young.
Yeah.
Right. So you started around 2005, 6.
Five.
If I'm 5 is your release. So a little before that. So someone who was born then is an adult now. Went from 0 to 18, right? They need to know all those changes that took place. And you know, I was watching an interview of yours. I watch everything by Simi Garwal, like anything, right? It doesn't matter. And you know, you're sitting there. In fact, I actually took that clip to show it to you because I want to ask you something from there. I mean, never mind the rest of the conversation. It was more about you dating and you know who all you can be with, blah 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 blah. But there is a part where you. By the way, do you believe in astrology?
More so now than ever before. Let's just put it that way.
You do?
Yeah,
so you read the horoscopes?
No, I
and stuff?
don't. Not that much. But do I believe it may have a real impact? Sure.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily go into it. Though.
Sure. So this is the part where you are with a tarot card reader.
If it will ever happen and if at least pre-production
Okay.
will start by the end of this year.
Yes.
Oh, she says it will happen.
Empress.
Oh.
So basically, for those who can't watch this, that you were very keen on the project, you want to put this together, and of all the questions that you could ask someone who's a fortune teller was, if this movie is going to happen. What was this movie and what happened?
I'd rather not talk about it because it never did happen. Clearly, her cards weren't right. The Empress who came was a.
The person also said that you're going to get married soon.
Oh, they did
So
it?
clearly, all the cards were wrong. So much for believing in tarot.
Yeah, no, that never happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would that mean? It would mean that you have a director in place, a story in place, a script in
I
place,
had the
everything.
script in place.
They
I
don't
had-
think it's going to work in box office, right?
I had the directors too, and they were debuts, and really nobody wanted to take a chance on them. And they weren't willing to it was their subject. They didn't want to let go. I was like, okay, I've tried, I've come this far with you guys, we've tried so many people, they all want to make this, but they don't want to make it with you. And I understand if you don't want to give it over to me to make it with somebody else, so good luck. And that was it. And they
Do you
still,
have a
they
lot of-
still haven't made it.
They still haven't made it. Is it still a relevant story though?
Someone copied it.
Oh, wow. This is a quiz. This is a trivia night. Someone copied it and made what?
Yeah. Oh no, it wasn't even an Indian film, it was a Brit movie.
You want to do an international film.
It was very much with the Desi community though.
Okay.
So it's very much an Indian film,
Right.
which is based in England.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.